Our last section for Chapter 7 will be proportions in triangles. If you haven't found out yet, Chapter 7 is all about setting up proportions, fraction equal fraction of some sort. So nothing new here. We're still going to be setting up proportions, hence proportions in triangles. The first theorem that we have, if we know that two lines are parallel, so it says that RS is parallel to XY, then we can set up a proportion with the lengths that, or the lines that go through those two parallel lines. So I could say XR over QR would be equal to SY over QS. So basically, when you're making this fraction, it's kind of like looking at the picture. If I have numbers at all of these spots, the proportion's already set up for you. Here's my fraction equal fraction. So I want to solve for x here. So since I know that these two lines are parallel, I can use the theorem that I just talked about. And again, looking at the picture, I could just set it up exactly like that. That's going to help you set up your proportion. So it would be 12 over x plus 1 is equal to 9 over x. And once you have that fraction equal fraction, you can cross multiply. And remember, you always want to make sure to put this in parentheses. So I would have 12x is equal to 9x plus 9, and then I can subtract 9x from both sides. 3x is equal to 9. Divide by 3. X is going to be equal to 3, and that's the only thing I have to do here is solve the value of x. Right now I want you to pause the video. Yes, pause the video. Draw this picture if you wish to have a reference in your notes, and solve this one all by yourself. You should have gotten that a is equal to 8. If you did not set up your portion like this, then that's probably why you did not get the same answer as I did. So the other theorem that we have, again, if we have parallel lines, so in this case we have line A, B, and C. If we have parallel lines, we can always set up a proportion. So in this case, AB over BC would be equal to WX over XY. And again, when you're looking at this picture, if I had a number, the picture will give you what your proportion should look like. So it'd just be right here. So I need to find the value of x. So here are my parallel lines. So this picture is kind of drawn sideways from what the picture that I showed you in the last slide. But it would still be, here's my proportion equal to my proportion. So in this case it would be 62 over x would be equal to 56 over 70. Now the reason why I chose those numbers is because you should be looking at the lines that are not parallel. The line that is not parallel sets up your proportion. So 62 over x and then 56 over 70. Those are the two not parallel lines. Cross multiply, and you have to divide by 56, and you would get that x is equal to 77.5. And that would be my final answer. And my last theorem that I have, if AD, if this line right here bisects, so if you remember back from last semester, bisect means it cuts that angle into two congruent parts. So this small angle is congruent to this small angle. Then again, I can set up a proportion. And the portion here is a little bit different. So it would be CD over DB would be equal to CA over AB. Now when you're looking at the picture, once this line bisects this triangle right here, it kind of splits it into two separate triangles. So it's going to be a triangle on the left and triangle on the right. That's going to help you figure out what your proportion is. In the line that this line right here, that cuts by the line that bisects, that should be one fraction always. And then that will help you set up your second fraction. So in this picture, I need to figure out what x is equal to. So it won't say this line bisects, but by the picture, I know that QP bisects angle P because these two angles are congruent. So whenever you see a picture that it bisects an angle like that, then I can set up my proportion. And again, it would be a proportion that looks like this. So those two lines, or 10 and 18 are on the same line, that would be equal to the two lines that help create angle P. So it would be 10 over 18 is equal to 12 over x. And if I want to make sure I set this up right, when I look at the two numbers on top, 10 and 12, they should be for one triangle, and they are. And 18 and x should be for one triangle, and they are. So the other point that I want to make sure to check is that on this line should be one fraction, and they are. Then I would cross multiply 10x equals 216 and divide by 10. I get x is equal to 21.6, and that would be my final answer. So again, I want you to pause the video. Yes, pause the video and try to set up the proportion correctly and then solve it. This is what your proportion should look like. So then next I need to solve. So you should have gotten that y is equal to 14.4. Again, when I'm looking at this picture, this line should make up one fraction. So I could write my fraction bar equal and then my fraction bar, and that could help you set up your proportion. So make sure that you took good notes. If you didn't, go back and do it again. Have a great day.